Yo, today I'm talking about Isaac Dulgarian versus Yadier Del Valle. At this point, we kinda already know that this was a fixed fight. Obviously, nothing is 100% confirmed, but we already know that this is a throw by Isaac Dulgarian. So, for the people that don't know, and for the people that know but don't know all the details, I'll just run you through everything that has happened and give my opinion at the end of what should be done here, because this is not only a problem in the UFC at this point, but has also been a problem in the NBA, and the FBI is even looking into it. And talking about the FBI, you'll see later. But overall, we start with the fight itself. Dulgarian, a very good wrestler, high level wrestler, 3-1 in the UFC before this. He was the biggest favorite in UFC history in his fight beforehand, right? So the people that know, they already know, okay, we can make a lot of money on his opponent if we make Isaac lose, because they already knew, okay, this guy was going to be a favorite here, we can make a lot of money on his opponent. So he starts, right? He starts and he does not look good. He tries to go for a takedown, but not good at all. He doesn't drive forward. He looks lackluster doing it, right? Then they go against the cage and Yadier just overpowers him in some type of way. Although I could see that happen, right? Because Yadier is a bigger fighter, very strong, very muscular, and whatever. But Dulgarian is very strong himself. In the first round, he's very good. So I would not expect someone that is not a wrestler to be able to outpower him like this. But okay, whatever happens, right? But then everything starts to be looking a bit fishy, a bit weird, because Yadier takes his back very easily, then almost finishes him. I think that they did this for Dulgarian to get out of the position, to sell the fight a bit, where, oh, look, I really did try, guys. But as a wrestler, there's for sure a way for you to get out, but whatever, you let that slide as well, right? 3 things we're already letting slide, but whatever. Then the choke comes in. One hand of Yadier is under the chin, right? Fine, happens when you're defending the other hand, there's no problem. But he does not defend the other hand. He just lets the choke sink in. Then he starts fighting the hand, but still leaves that hand under his chin. 3 or 4 times this happens. And then at the end, he starts punching him, bro. Like, anyone that has done jiu-jitsu, like MMA, grappling, let's say for a month, knows that this is not the way to defend, bro. You just take the hand out and then you can maybe start punching or whatever, right? And especially if you're a grappler like Dulgarian, who is very high level. This guy has been training MMA for a few years now, 29, in the peak of his career he should be. The wrestling is very good. As I said, he had a insanely competitive fight versus C-Rod, who is very good in the grappling, as you guys know yourselves. He, in my opinion, won the fight, got robbed, but whatever, right? C-Rod is a good fighter, but here this is unexcusable. This is not even white belt stuff, bro. Even a white belt that for a few months knows, okay, let me try and get this hand out and then I start punching. But he lets that hand under his chin the whole time, which is just fishy. He just keeps his neck open, like, yeah, take it, bro, take it. And I'll act like I'm fighting against it and whatnot. And the funny thing is, bro, you could see that Dulgarian could probably just get out of the position fairly easily, because Yadier had the choke synced in like almost fully. He was still able to fight it and get out of the position. So you could see that he was able to get out of it. He just basically chose not to, right? And now the reason why everyone says that is fixed, right? Because, okay, he just loses the fight, but why? What does it matter? Let's look at these odds right here, at these odds changes. So first off, we look at the picture above, right? Minus 240 favorite. That's what Dulgarian started at. It went down a bit up. October 28th, he was about minus 200, right? About minus 200. He was even as far as minus 268, so he was almost a 3-1 favorite, but whatever. Then goes up August 28th, or even down, and at some point you can see this at November 1st. You can see all of a sudden he goes from someone that's over 240 to minus 135 on the same day. That does never happen. That never happens. This does not happen. This does not happen, especially that. So this means that there's a lot of money bet on Del Valle, on the opponent of Dulgarian, which is why he goes up in value, right? And this is the second picture. You don't see too well, but this says Del Valle by first round finish, and it was at plus 850. It was very unlikely because Dulgarian is a very strong starter. The wrestling is very good. His chin is good. The striking is okay, but he is a bulldozer in the first round. There's no way you finish him normally in the first round. And he's only lost once in his career, and that was a decision after getting tired. Plus 850 it was. Now all of a sudden it goes on November 1st from about, let's say, 750, it goes to plus 475. How is that possible? Once again, that's because a lot of money is poured into the round 1 finish and Del Valle to win. So why would someone put so much money on Del Valle to win? It doesn't make any sense, and especially this is a large amount of money because you are shifting the entire money line to almost 1-to-1, to almost minus 110 on both sides. You have to have had some crazy money put in there. And another piece of proof for you guys, right? First off, let's start with the fact that Caesars, which is a casino, right, a sportsbook, they are saying the guys that lost money on Dulgarian, you get your money back. And if you had a parlay with Dulgarian in it, the parlay cashes without the odds of Dulgarian. So that means they're like, bro, come on, even we know this is bullshit, and we'll just give you guys back your money because there's something fishy going on. The casinos themselves are saying this. The casinos, bro, these are the most greedy people of all time. These are okay, I don't want to get banned on YouTube, but these guys are the greediest of the greedy, right? They want your money. That's all they want. And they still give you back your money because even they're like, come on, bro, this is bullshit. We want to win your money, steal your money in a fair way, bro. Not like this. Even they know it's bullshit, bro. And this, the picture right here you're seeing, right? This was before the fight. Somebody's saying nothing confirmed, obviously, but I'm hearing that there's something suspicious going on. Maybe it's an injury or a fix. I think it's a fix, but a friend at Hard Rock says that they got 5 very large bets, so big bets, and it got flagged, and a lot of casinos shut down the Dulgarian Del Valle fight. They did not want that to be bet on anymore, like a few hours before, which never happens. Then on my sportsbook, unfortunately, I saw the big price on Dulgarian. I was like, let me put some money on him. I didn't even realize that the change in money line was that big. I thought it was weird, and I could see it even change live. But I thought, maybe it's closer to the fight. Like it was 10 minutes before the fight, so maybe that's why. I was very much wrong. I did not open Twitter beforehand because there was a lot of talk on Twitter already. But, it is what it is. Now, the last time that something like this happened, that a change like this happened, was when the one and only James Krause, who was the former trainer of Isaac Dulgarian, was still coaching. He's not allowed to coach anymore because he had a betting group where he told people to bet on the opponent of his own pupil. He told people, guys, Derek Minner is my pupil, but bet against him, he's injured. And now he's not allowed to be a coach anymore. He's probably facing some problems, legal troubles. Derek Minner obviously not fighting anymore in the UFC. There's also not got Jeff Molina's also not fighting anymore in the UFC. But the thing is, this guy Isaac Dulgarian was training under James Krause, which makes this all much more fishy, which is very weird, right? It's kind of crazy that this happens under the same coach. Well, not under the same coach anymore, but it's not a good look. It's a terrible look, even, I would say. And then there's this guy. I'm not sure how big of a journalist he is, but he has some articles done. He did get work with ESPN, I think. So he is fairly legitimate. But he's saying that the FBI is even looking into this, and the FBI told the UFC, listen, you cannot let this fight happen. There's some suspicious activity going on. Well, the UFC can do whatever they want, obviously, but it was more of a tip from the FBI, like, hey, something's going on. I would just not let this fight happen because there's some weird stuff going on, right? UFC still decided to have the fight happen. We could see that that the FBI was right. And now Harry Mack, this is the journalist I was talking about, he's saying that over 100 fights in 2025 are flagged. This does not mean that all the fights are fixed or whatever, just flagged just to see what's up, maybe something suspicious happened. And that is the case, right? And I think that a lot of these fights that are flagged are just because some dumb refereeing has been done, which is why they're like, this does not make any sense. This referee did something completely against the rules. That's why we want to look into this. Just like Ante Delija versus Cortez Acosta, bro. Because the fight was waved off, right? Fight was waved off. Everyone came in, it's done. Ante was celebrating and everything. And then all of a sudden, Mark Smith is like, nah, you get 5 minutes, eye poke, whatever. So this is probably one of the fights that they also flagged because, let's be honest, it did not make any sense what happened there. So this guy Harry Mack is also saying feds are moving to audit Herzog's fights. So they're looking into Jason Herzog fights, and Jason even replied himself like, what the fuck? Weird. I don't think that it's that deep. I don't think that there's like a whole conspiracy, like all these referees and whatever they're in on this. I think that sometimes the refereeing is just that bad that the FBI is like, nah, this doesn't make any sense, bro. Which I agree with. A lot of things don't make sense, but I don't think that 100 fights are fixed. That's just not true. Or this one guy that once said, oh, dude, you didn't know, dude, but all the fights in the UFC are scripted, dude. Maybe he's right, bro. Maybe he's right. You know what annoys me? There's going to be a press conference soon for UFC 322. I don't think that we'll really hear anything about this up until then. And I still know for sure that no one of these journalists will ask Dana, like, hey, what's going on there? What do you think? Any updates on this? Nobody will ask this because they are, I don't know, they just don't care. They're kind of scared that probably the UFC said, don't ask this question. I understand because they don't know themselves. It's a bad look. I don't think this is something I have to say. I don't think that the UFC has anything to do with it. I don't think that the people fighting in the UFC mostly do this, and I don't think that the staff does this. I see a lot of comments like, oh, it's just all the staff, bro, they're in on this, bro. No, bro, I don't believe it. That doesn't make any sense. I think that Dulgarian thought that he was just smart with his Armenian friends, like, hey, guys, let's make some money, dude. And the thing is, also a small little detail, on Fight Week a few days ago, he was talking about, listen, if you are able to bet on me on, like, let's say Hard Rock should pay me like 3-4% of what they're winning, bro. Why are you talking about betting like that a few days before a fight that looks like match fixing? Does not make any sense. Also, Isaac Dulgarian got cooked by the Knock Boys. Well, not cooked, but they basically scammed them a little bit. They said like, oh, you'll be on our sponsorship and whatnot. I don't know what it entails, but he would probably like get some benefits from them, get some money, get some more fame after a certain fight. But he won, and they said, yeah, you got it, and then they never said anything after it. So kind of weird. Maybe he was just mad at the world, you know, like Nelk Boys, the betting, the sports books, because he knows they're not paying him, and he's like, you know, I gotta take medicine to my own hands. This 10-10 fight purse cannot save me anymore, bro. I need to do something myself. And that's what people are saying on Twitter, like, oh, it's just because they're not getting paid well enough, bro. Pay them well enough, they won't be doing this, bro. No, bro, I don't understand this, right? You choose to be an MMA fighter yourself, so what? It doesn't make any sense, bro. They choose it themselves. They know it's 10-10, bro. They're signing the contract. They could go to other organizations. They could go to PFL that pays more, Octagon, KSW. Those pay more. 1FC, I wouldn't go to 1FC. But these organizations, they pay more. So that does not make any sense to me to say that kind of stuff. They want to get into the UFC because they think it's hype. There's more hype. There's more like sponsorship opportunities, this and that. So I'll sign a 10 contract. I'll become a UFC champion, and that's cool. So it's, you know, kind of their own problem. But obviously I am on the side of the fighters. I do want to see them get paid more, for sure. But if you don't get paid more, doesn't mean you have to run scams and lose people millions of dollars. So, and I wanted to make this video because I'm low-key a bit salty myself. We, on our Patreon, on our betting service, Aristotelo, if you want to join, we won 7 units last night, or not last night, last weekend, on that Apex card. We could have won about 20 because we had an insane parlay of plus 3,000 on this whole card. Dulgarian was the last piece and he lost the fight. So I'm a bit pissed. I lost money. Our people lost money. Well, we didn't lose money, but we could have won triple that much. So that does annoy me a bit. But you know, I try to be as honest as possible. That's why I wanted to say it. I want to be as, I don't know, I forgot the word, bro, where you're like, you try to not be one-sided. I try to not be one-sided. That I really try to, and I really hope that I'm wrong. I really do hope that this was not match fixing. This was just him. Maybe he was injured or whatever going on. I hope that that's the case. I don't hope that it was match fixing, because let's be honest, if you're injured and you still fight, you know, that's not it's an issue. That's stupid because you lost your fight and whatnot, but at least it's not match fixing. And also, by the way, a thing I forgot, this guy got released by the UFC. Although he was 3-1 before this fight, so 3-2, he signed a new contract and still got released. He got released on a new contract. Casinos are giving back the money. FBI is reportedly investigating. And there's still people saying, nah, it wasn't match fixing, bro. It was bullshit, bro. You just don't know how to bet, dude. Nah, bro, you just don't know what you're doing, bro. And the thing is, I'm not even sure if Valle would have lost if it was match fixing. I don't know. But we will never find out because Isaac Dulgarian will never be fighting in the UFC. And another thing, guys, I'm making this kind of a long video, but Yadier Valle is one of these people saying, you just don't know what you're talking about, bro. You have no betting knowledge, bro. I'm just good. You are shit. Dulgarian is not on my level. That's why I killed him. He commented this on one of the guys' UFA APEX, I think, which makes me feel like he was not in on this. He was just doing his best, trying to finish his opponent, and that's exactly what he did. So props to him. But he's like, guys, you know, he's just talking bullshit, bro. I just beat the shit out of him, dude. And that's it, bro. I'm a marauder, dude. Bro, I don't think that's the case. I mean, you're good, but this was match fixing, in my opinion. Thank you guys for watching this video. By the way, guys, pegador in Portuguese means like gather, like whatever you want, money, bitches, whatever. So, extra information for you guys. Look at this. If you know, you know. Fortnite, Loot Llama, Fortnite low-key goated game. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Let's go for that.